one claims that the stones. No one claims that the stones in the pyramid was lifted 300 feet up in the air by a crane. That's not what anyone is saying. It's not the same technique.
You can say it. You can do it in increments. It doesn't matter how. Try to do that with ropes.
Ropes and pulleys. It's in engineering. As you multiply the pulleys, you multiply the force. So, so it's very simple.
Yeah,
but we're not talking about crane lifting the granite stone 300 feet up in the air. We are talking about, dragging something up of a very gradual ramp, for example. That's a completely different technique.
What gradual ramp? Again, I told you, they check the ramp theory. The material and the stuff needed to build a ramp would exceed or meet the bulk of the stuff of the pyramid. Do you not understand that?
Who is they? Who is they?
Because you said they said something, that means that they couldn't have done it.
You guys just haven't looked into this, so it's not even
we
you
have.
Look into it and then come back, bro. At least you'll know the various methods.
Okay. You know what? You're right. You're right.
What is it like?
We all know it was aliens. Okay, I'm sorry. I pretended that humans could do this. It was aliens. We all know it.
We don't know what we don't know.
Theoretically, if you consider scale, imagine like humans at a 6-inch scale, and they basically scale. They'd have to build this pulley ramp system at a scale of even greater than the fucking pyramid itself, and it'd have to be like a temporary thing, and it would just have to be crazy. So it's.
No, but shouldn't you have already looked into most of these theories before you talk about them? Like the ramp theory, right? That's been disproven. It's not because I'm saying it, right? It would take more stuff than the pyramid itself. It's just not feasible.
Not been debunked.
Yes, it has. Now, I'll tell you the best theory.
You start building.
Based on other conversations I've had with you, I'm not trusting anything you tell me.
You start building from the inside at a 5-degree increment on all four corners, and you basically screw it out and up at the same time. So as you screw outwards, you screw upwards, and then the ones next to it provide the next stones to screw upwards. So it's a 4-tiered screwing out system, which gives you your dimensions. And if you get it wrong, it falls over. So you've got to have a good foundation to start with. But this is doable, guys. I don't see how you don't know this, because they kind of do know how they built them. It took a lot of people. But to say you can't do it, the ramp's too big, that's from the 70s, man. To say that's impossible.
It's not just how they built it. It's the scale, all the mathematical proportions allegedly in there, all the chambers in there. They're not just. Everything is like math. All the spatial volumes of all the rooms. They're like harmonics and math this and math that, and everything vibrates, and it's just crazy shit. And the precision, but not just precision, just
have you been to the pyramids?
All of this combined, it's something to think about, and it's up to the individual. So
how do you know? How do you know about this? They got some wrong, dude. They've actually found rooms where they fucked it up. Like, do you not know about this stuff? It's not the big precision alien built thing we're made to think. They actually fucked some of them up and they fell down. It's only the ones that they built properly are the ones that lasted. And then they had to undo them all and put all the bodies because people worked out how to grave rob. So they had to go and get all the bodies and rebury them all.
I'm not sure if anyone's suggesting aliens. I think people are just suggesting just to like think about it or something could be here. There's open questioning, and then there's just no. We know everything. This is how we did it. Here it is right here.
That's where you
guys are.
No one said we know everything. I just said we don't have to presume it's impossible. We should think about how it is possible rather than jumping to aliens. We know
everything is the mainstream view. It's the mainstream. We know who it is. We know who built it. We know the time period. We know most likely the methods. No, you guys, that is knowing everything.
No, it isn't. It's like thinking about ways it could be done that are realistic.
Okay.
Is not knowing everything.
Let me correct the word I'm using because it looks like I have to be very precise with you.
You should fucking get precise, yes, instead of tossing out bullshit. That's a great idea.
Okay, I'm not going to engage you. I'm not going to, no going ahead. Thank you. You guys can carry forward.
Okay, fuck off, Ben. Thank you very much.
Relax. Look, chill out. The point is not if they were built. Obviously, they were built. There they are. You can walk up to them and touch them. The point is, how were they built, and did they use the primitive tools and technology that they told us they were built?
Well, we don't have any, when I don't have any evidence of advanced tooling, so we can dismiss that.
Should we think about it, or should we just go to aliens? Which one?
No, of course, think about it. That's what we're doing here.
Okay, have you ever watched a stonecutter work?
Good call.
Yes.
Okay, and what does the stonecutter do to cut a stone?
They use chisels. They'll use a diamond blade. It depends on what they do. It depends what. Yeah.
I mean an old school stonecutter. What
they
do
create fracture lines. They put those little needles in, create fracture lines to create a nice clean cut.
Wood
and
evidence
of that pattern, right?
They use wood and water.
And we gotta go one at a time, guys.
Go ahead.
You go.
Well, we've seen that stone can be cut with steel, and what SE I think was saying is that therefore precludes Bronze Age tools from being used.
No, I said, let me be clear what I said. Those tools can be used, right? But from what I've seen, because I've looked into this, right? Every time they're struck about 20 times, they get dull. So the worker had like literally 20 hits, and then somebody would have to replace him with a new chisel, like a banged out chisel. So, yeah.
And how have you ever worked on a construction site, SE?
Not really, no.
Okay. I ran a construction company for 28 straight years and then consulted with them for a number of years after that. I've got over 30 years experience in it. There is not a tool alive today that doesn't need to be replaced or refurbished on a regular basis. Now, the tools we have today are made out of very similar materials, sometimes even the same materials as ancient ones, but we tend to have hooked them up to things like motors and hydraulics and stuff like that. We make them easier to use by smaller numbers of people. But everything dulls. Like the biggest mining shovel you've ever seen, the teeth on it that you could not pick up on your own, no matter how great of a weightlifter you are, those dull down and need to be either remade or thrown out and replaced. I know because I've moved these things around, because I've hauled these pieces of equipment. And the reason why I bring this up is only for one reason. The reason I bring it up is because the idea that they had a crew of people constantly sharpening chisels and bringing new chisels to the stonecutter, or even letting them go and sharpen their tool to give their arms a break and then come back and start hitting again. All of that is just part of construction. It has been from the beginning of time. Tools wear out, they dull down, they have to be sharpened, re-tipped, whatever. And it doesn't matter how big and strong they are, how fancy they are, how much carbon you put in the steel. It all wears down eventually and needs replacing. And the idea that that wasn't built into the construction process is nonsense.
I'm not saying that all tools don't wear out, but I'm just giving you the amount of strikes that they could have had with one chisel is pale in comparison to steel,
how many chisels were they limited to building?
May I? There's also a technique where if it's not super hard stone like igneous rock, but certain sandstones, you can actually drill a hole in. Once you've drilled a hole about an inch, you can then force in wood, pour in wood, and the force of swelling wood is actually enough to break stone in a straight line. So if you know how to cleave it properly, you can actually make pretty big straight stones, provided you know how to do it. But swelling wood is a slow process, and obviously we have concrete. So we pour concrete because that's easier. But swelling wood wedged into a pre-cut slot will produce square stone if it's soft enough stone. But of course, you don't
just using hydraulics in a natural, hydraulic pressure in a natural situation.
Yes, wood and water, hydraulic force, exactly. Yeah. Swelling wood is an amazing force.
Yeah, and we've had examples of hydraulics being used and recorded since the 19th century at least. What are the chances we didn't know about hydraulic forces prior to that and just wasn't well recorded or wasn't documented in the way we recognize it as hydraulics today?
Here's something. Have you ever seen a mushroom grow up through concrete? You look at it and just think, impossible, but there it is. It must be God. Mushrooms can grow up through concrete. How the fuck? That's just
concrete full of water, and fungi need moisture to grow. And they're like really not that particular about what surfaces they grow on.
Yeah.
Not surprising at all.
The way they would have built this pyramid, first they would have surveyed the land, then they clear out the land, and then they start off with building whatever is underneath, and then they build the foundation, and then they basically start off by building it inside out. You have the foundation, and then you start at the central pillar element, which is that these are like where the king's chamber is with the 80-ton blocks, granite. So we don't know how that, but I mean, they'd have to have some monumental. The Great Pyramid is a monumental scale structure. So just like scaffolding goes around the building, the scaffolding would have to be also monumental. So it would be some kind of monumental pulley, whatever, however way. They got the middle elements lined up, and then they build the frame outwards. And then there's this theory that they basically did a mass geopolymer, like they basically have like liquefied limestone and all this stuff. They pour it in. They have a mass assembly line of creating geopolymer blocks. Okay, and they pour it in their little molds and their little wooden molds, and then that process could actually happen on the pyramid. An actual pouring on the pyramid. I watched some video that it talked about it. But yeah, that's all.
I know there was purging was used on the pyramids originally for sure. A lot of it's fallen off now, and I think there was a lot of stuff mixed in with it, like metals and stuff. I can't remember all the details about that, but that they use some sort of cementitious material as well does not surprise me at all.
Also, anyone who's ever dragged a surfboard along the beach for probably 5 minutes will never do it again because it wears out the surfboard. You have to carry it. Now, if you were to be towing your stones with beasts of burden, why couldn't one logically use the sand you're dragging it over to sharpen your tools or prefab the stones and give you a flat surface? There's another method, using the sand you're carrying it across, and the heavier it is, the more it's going to sand grind down the flat surface, and it's always going to be flat.
Yeah. Look, I'm not even a stonemason, and I own 5 or 6 cold chisels for just doing little bits and pieces of this and that around, job sites and stuff. I've accumulated them over the years. If I was a professional stonemason, like, what would stop me from owning 100 cold chisels?
Yeah.
And paying my kids to sharpen them at night.
I actually use my porch
in the morning.
I use the concrete on my porch as sandpaper when I need to sand something down. I'll go out and just use the concrete as a sander. It works on wood, certain structures.
Well, there's no reason it wouldn't.
Yeah. See, we always look at these people and think they're too stupid to know how to do it because we can't figure it out. But they had all day. They had all fucking day to think about how to do it. We don't have all day to think about it. So, yeah, they're smart.
We've had hundreds of years to try to think how to do this. Hundreds of years. Guess what? We haven't done it. We don't know how they did it. And you just got to live with that, buddy. Too bad.
Essie, hold on a second. If you pay me enough billions of dollars, I'll fucking build you a pyramid.
Yeah, sure, dude. Sure.
I'm serious. I've built lots of shit for people in the past. You give me enough money, I'll fucking come out of retirement. I fucking guarantee I will. So pony up the cash. Pony up the cash, and I'll build you a fucking pyramid.
In fact, you know why we don't build pyramids
today?
Write that
check?
Because a pyramid is an inefficient shape for living in when compared to, say, a skyscraper, which has got lots of rooms that go straight up. A pyramid diminishes. Each floor has less and less room, so it's an inefficient structure.
Whoa. Don't bring economics into this. I'm trying to get SE to hire me to do a job.
Okay. Oh, I doubt it's going to happen.
I'm trying to convince him to write a check for pyramids right now. Don't be telling him about economic efficiency. Then he'll want to fucking.
You know what? If I was a billionaire, I would give you the money. Just bring a crew there to watch and laugh at you. I would really do that. Just for the comedy aspect.
You think I don't know the fucking people to get this done? I still have their fucking phone numbers.
So right quick, SE, in chat, I just posted evidence from Brown University. This is a paper that actually details the ramp models of the Great Pyramid to include the microgravity measurements of the internal ramp, which still exists today, as well as excavation and construction of the northwest corner L-shaped room, which is the internal ramp, only partially collapsed. Do you want to tell me there wasn't a ramp again?
Sure, buddy, sure. You can think whatever you want. I've heard about the internal ramps. I've heard mostly all of the theories, right? All of them come short. Sorry, buddy. You can wish, you can think, and you could interrupt me while I talk. But yeah, none of this has been proven.
Why don't you walk us through?
Try not to interrupt while people talk. You think you can do that? It shows that you're really triggered when you talk over somebody. Really not good.
Please let him finish. Just let him finish. You can walk us through. Yeah, okay.
No problem. Finish it up.
Yeah. None of the stuff that you've been saying has been proven to show how the pyramids were built. So nice try with your interior ramps.
Where's the paper? What text is it in? I want to have a look. What text? Whoever posted it?
I rather want to see
that?
the source from Essie's claim that debunked these things. I would like to see the source from that.
I just want
to It's probably with one or some retard like that.
Look, if you guys have a clear-cut way how the pyramids were built, go ahead. You'll win a Nobel Prize, right? Show your proof, and that's it. It's very simple.
Sure.
Okay. No. SE,
so the paper is in
there, right?
Hold on. Rather than saying that
You're breaking up, bro. Don't waste your time. Fix your mic, or we don't hear what you're saying.
Fuck.
But
someone's still breathing. Guys, where is the paper? I want to ask what text chat is the paper posted in? I can't find it.
Omnipresent.
Okay, thank you.
Scientists and people.
SE, can you just tell us mathematically what wouldn't work, about the ramp that's in this paper? Just show us that it's impossible, that the force required to push weight up the ramp is not physically possible on Earth.
Well, if it's the one you're talking about that's in the walls and interior ramps,
I'm not talking about anything. It's the one in this paper.
Explain it to me. Which one is it? Which one is?
I don't know. The one that the other gentleman posted in the text chat. Can you just show us the mathematical impossibility, or show us that the amount of force required is beyond being created by humans?
I'd have to look at it. I don't know which one he's talking about, so I would have to look at it before I talk about it. I don't just say shit I don't know about it.
But when you dismissed it earlier, you had already looked at it. You'd already examined it. So you don't even need to look at this paper. because you already saw that ramp and you were already able to exclude it as a possibility. You said that when you remember when you told me to stop interrupting you, you were saying that you'd already debunked it as a possibility. And I was just hoping you could pull up your notes.
Put your drama and your hatred aside and listen to what I say. What I said was now it's your turn to stop talking and listen to me talk.
Go ahead.
What I said was, can you do it? Thank you. What I said was the exterior ramp that was supposed that how they build the pyramid would take as much or more material than the Great Pyramid itself. That's what I said. Maybe perhaps you weren't listening.
I didn't hear impossible in that statement, but I did hear a lot of material.
Well, you want to hear whatever you want to hear, bro. That's all you want to. You don't want to look at this critically. You just want to
say the sentence again one more time.
Can you guys hear me?
Using the word impossible. Thank you.
Which part's impossible? See, to build it or build it like they did?
The part that's we were talking about an exterior ramp now. An exterior ramp. I didn't say it's impossible. What I said was for the fourth time, right, is that ramp, in order for it to be useful, had to have as much material or more material than the pyramid itself. That's what I said.
Where could they have gotten that from?
That's true.
Can anyone hear me? Hold on. Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yes.
I can hear the person saying that.
Okay. SE is correct. If you were to build that exterior ramp the way that it was originally theorized, all the way to the top, it would be too much material. Good thing that's not what they did. They only built that up for the first little bit. And then they used the interior ramp, which is still there, as evidenced in the paper.
That may have been a portion of it, but we still don't know the exact way they did it. Then that would be the part that stands between us technology-wise now and then is if it was or it wasn't. Building the pyramids, if we did it today, would be the easiest fucking thing in the world, and it'd probably be a shit ton faster. But if we tried to do it in what we hypothesized as how they did it, we don't think we'd be able to do it in that time scale. We don't. There's no means.
That's
for
my
us to
point.
figure out how they did
Thank you. Yes, of course. We couldn't do it with ropes and chisels and sand and slaves. Exactly.
Yeah, right. We can't figure out the pattern and the blueprint of which they did, but that's only because there's no record. That's ultimately the problem.
Okay. Does anyone think they're not physically there?
What's that?
Does anyone think the pyramids are fictitious?
What?
Oh yeah. It's an operation. They're not there. You got us, bro. You got it.
No. I'm asking the question for a reason, because if we agree that they are real and that they are there, they stand in testament to the fact that they were built.
But the next question is by who?
They're not actually there. They're apparent.
And so there's a gap. There's a gap in knowledge about exactly what methods were used.
Who built the pyramids?
But we do know how they built things back in those days.
Yeah.
Wait. Who built the pyramids? Like the
stone mason.
No. Okay.
Stone masons built the pyramids.
The argument would be, and is right. This is a scientific argument about whether or not the Egyptians built like the main pyramids, and they say this.
It's located in Egypt, so the Egyptians most likely did it.
No, because we know that the Egyptian people today migrated to that area. The question is when they migrated to that area, were the Great Pyramids there already? The reason and the philosophical backing behind this is because the pyramids that we know for sure were built in the times of during the time of the pharaohs and shit like that, the construction of those are shit. Like they're nothing like the Great Pyramids.
What?
Look up pyramids that were built during. Hang on. Look up pyramids that were built during like the pharaohs' time, their time that we know for sure, and look at the construction of those compared to the Great Pyramids.
We know that the Egyptians didn't build them, bro, because the Greeks had Egypt for 300 years, right? They controlled Egypt for 300. There would be some records of these pyramids being built. The Egyptians, the ones we think are the Egyptians, did not build those pyramids.
True.
Not the great.
They have found various
personally,
logs and stuff like that. They do know a lot of things about it.
Not built.
Yeah, but not for like the Great Pyramids.
Oh, we don't have the complete blueprint. Okay, debunked.
Again, that's why I brought up the point, the fact that, and that's why I brought up the point that of all the records they do have, of the pyramids that were built during the times, for sure, like there is no question were these pyramids built during the times of these Egyptian pharaohs. Those ones, the construction of those ones are nothing like the Great Pyramids. Do you understand that part?
I'm willing to like accept that as a conversation point because I have no way to go double check that right now. But that does not surprise me that earlier buildings were not as amazing as later buildings. Like that they got better at it over time. That does not surprise me at all.
It's the other way around. The Great Pyramids are the ones that are in question on whether or not the Egyptians built the Great Pyramids or not. The basics behind it is that the pyramids that were built during, like, SC can't argue this, I can't argue this, no one's arguing that there are certain pyramids that were definitely built by the Egyptians. The problem is, if you compare those to the Great Pyramid, the construction is nothing of the same. There's no intricate pattern. Like, it's not the same fucking questionable build. These things are shit compared.
So the question would be, what Sean is saying is,
why aren't the pyramids of their current time the same as the Great Pyramids? Why didn't they put the same effort into them?
Yeah, what Sean is trying to say is that the theory goes like this. The Egyptians that we know and think we built those pyramids, they found the Great Pyramids, and then they tried to build similar stuff, and it got worse during time. Not the way you guys think the timeline. They started the other way around.
Well, I mean, sure, I could believe that too. Like I've met lots of young people that aren't as good tradespeople as older people with more experience as well. Like that also makes sense. It's entirely possible for both things. Either way, neither one of those things surprises me. That some people who are really good at building something built it really well at some point in history, and then other people tried to replicate it, or whether it was prototypical or whether it was after the fact, just failed attempts to recreate something they didn't have the skill for. Either way is 100% believable.
But
there's no way for us to know.
What we see, no, but there is, because what we see in civilization typically would be that if a skill trade starts, we watch the progression of that skill trade get better through generations. We don't see skill trades. We don't see skill trades go up and down in a scale. They advance with a civilization.
It's all about economy. Let's say that the Giza pyramids were built in peak economy. Where Egypt was at the peak of its power, had most of the resources that they ever wanted. But 1,000 years later, they only had half of the resources, half of the economy, half of the power. You would see that the quality of the work would go down over time because of that.
Well, the number of Egypt didn't jump like that either.
What? Why? Of course. It is in the world today in the last 500 years.
But we're not talking about the last 500 years. Where the fucking
Parthenon. The Parthenon was built 2,500 years ago. We haven't built anything since. So what? Is everything better than the Parthenon? Because there's nothing around to prove that. That's actually arse up, guys. That's just assuming stuff.
We don't have the blueprints for Parthenon. What are you talking about? Look at our civilizations now. We have watched them advance over time, and the skill trades that built them doesn't go down at all.
But hang on, the Parthenon's still standing. The skyscraper that's in New York is not. Twin Towers won't still be standing in 5,000 years.
Wait. So are you telling me that the Empire State Building and all these buildings that were built long ago by very skilled tradesmen are still better modern technology-wise than any other ones we have? I'll use the Caliph one
I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying the Parthenon still stands. So how come everything built after the Parthenon doesn't still stand? Don't storm at me, dude.
Money, because
dude, that's really gaslighting.
And I didn't fucking straw man you. And do not fucking say anything as dishonest, because that's fucking bullshit when you do that bullshit fucking peasant shit.
All right.
Okay.
So anyway, the Parthenon still stands. So is everything after it better?
Obviously.
See, we build down to a price. We always build down to a price. Sorry, Sean, I just get the shits when I can't get a word in. We build down to a price, irrespective of our time in history. So maybe the pyramids were just the luxury hotels of the time. Built the biggest thing, get the best gods, and you can go and live with the best gods if you build the best pyramids. That's my guess.
That's a viable one.
Yeah, because the pyramid was actually a conduit to go and live with God in the afterlife, wasn't it? I believe they were heavily into the afterlife. So
I've been hearing some crazy shit about them being like batteries for connecting with the gods.
Yeah, Stargate was cool too. I like that.
So
that
this part is a fact. Okay, right? This part right here is a fact. You guys can look it up. In one of the pyramids, I don't remember the name of one, but there are 2 pillar-like structures that go down 2 miles. And the idea is that would be impossible for the times. So, right, there's 2 options: advanced technology or other beings.
Sean, that was AI hoax. That wasn't real. Sorry, bud.
Damn it. Fuck you. Boats don't fly. Damn it.
But even it does like what
it was
what,
AI reading
what
information that
everybody was saying.
I was so much looking forward to the Gould building the pyramids.
Wait, time the fuck out, guys. We are so fortunate. Terry, how did they build the pyramids?
The Gould did it. Didn't anyone watch Stargate?
But you were there, so how did they really do it?
I was only supervisor.
So you weren't part of the planning process.
How is Terry able to function while being upside down? That is the question. How can he function?
I wish you'd stop this, Essie. You got motherfuckers thinking you're actually a flat
That was
earther.
a joke. Come on, man.
Seriously. I got in 2 arguments the other day based on they were talking about you and how you're such a flat earther, and I keep trying to explain to people that truly you're not. All you give a fuck about is if it's stationary or not. That's like your true care.
Yeah, shape is irrelevant to me because you're correct about that. Because, like I say, if you haven't seen the whole of the Earth, you can't predicate upon it. So to me, it's completely useless to talk about shape, right?
And this is what I've been trying to tell people. I've known you for so long. Me and Essie have had one-on-one conversations about this. Motherfuckers keep running around, acting like they know. I don't like when they do that, Essie. They talk shit and they don't know.
So we're going to do a
they try to label you, right? That's
yeah. We're going to send a SC up into space crowdfund like the 24-hour sun thing.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'll report what I see for sure.
All at once.
I'm not going to space. Fuck that. I'm a go over. I'm gonna tell you now. If they gave me a free ticket today, I would not step foot on that ship. Fuck that test. Fuck that. Nope.
But you know what I find? You're right, Sean. People are obsessed about shape, right? And they tend to let everything else go by the wayside. It's only about shape for a lot of the ballers. I don't get it. There's a lot more than shape involved here.
Montreal, you could talk about pumpkin pie, and they would automatically assume that you are saying flat Earth proof. It doesn't matter. It's just the person who is having words come out of their mouth. It's insane. No one listens.
I know, bro. Why? Why is it like that? I don't get it.
I think they need a hug.
Well, you wouldn't get into
like to see.
I might need a hug, but holy fuck, that's not taking us anywhere.
I'd like to see evidence of this pumpkin pie. I've never seen one.
I'd have a slice of pumpkin pie too.
You might not get into a rocket, but I've got a submersible I might need to test out. Would you like to come and check out the Titanic with me in my submersible?
I'm good. I don't even like the ocean, bro. You want to hear some crazy shit? You know how like people scuba dive in the ocean and there's a fear of sharks? Okay.
Yeah.
When I snorkel in a lake, I still get that same anxiety.
Well, because there's lake monsters.
Scuba diving is CGI.
No, I'm
Scuba
talking
diving is
straight
CGI.
up.
The oceans are shallow.
In a lake, I'm waiting for a shark
yeah,
to come from the depths. We're humans. We don't belong in the water. Stop it.
So back to the pyramids. If we use logical, critical thinking, right? Could they have been done with those chisels and rope, guys? I mean, come on, use some critical thinking.
Of course.
Yes, but I think the timeline could be off. I also think that if we're gonna go under the guise that Egyptians did it just for the argument. If they wanted it to, if the purpose was to show how great they are, they would have wanted it to be done as fast as possible, or people to think they were that good. So maybe it took longer. But doing it, yes, absolutely possible. The other issue is a lot of our minds construct the area of Egypt to what we see now. I mean, the means of these things, to get things there, etc., would have been far easier than we were realizing. Then we're realizing what current Egypt looks like now. It was rivers. There were trees. The supplies were there.
One theory I did like, of all the theories that I saw, and it was they would flood. Now, I don't know how the hell they got water up there, but they would flood each level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they would have a tube filled with water. And what they would do is they would cut the blocks and put an animal skin on top of them, fill it up with air, put it in the tube, and then it would just float up.
Siphon up. Okay, so this is actually, I've seen this theory, and it is actually an extremely good theory, and even more doable than sliding bricks up a ramp. So all you would need to do is have a water source. They did. We know there were rivers that run through it. All you would have to do is build a dam and a canal that builds up. And all you would do is just raise the level of the water up to the level you need it. And then you would be, those little channels in the pyramid that they've shown that run from like the king's cophagus or whatever, all the way out to the top, like out to the outside of the pyramid. Those would be a flood channel.
Right. Now we're talking. Something that's feasible. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of feasible ideas.
Sean, are you saying that it couldn't be done without boats? Are you saying it's all about boats, and boats are what rules the world?
Yeah, I think. Fuck you.
Now, Sean, that's doable, right? If you want to just put them where the water is. But how do you lift them and hoist them, like in the king's chamber, where they have these, these things that build upon on top? Like, how do you do that?
Well, you would do it. You would place them before you put the roof on.
I think they outsourced from a private contractor that had high reach cranes.
Yeah, this is a monumental task we're talking about, guys. This is really something.
But see, here's the other thing, because like I said, I've been diving into alternative thinkings about it, and the idea is that if we're able to do what we're doing now, right, build our technology, our way of life is the way it is now, it would have been just as possible for them to have done it. The only stipulation is this: don't think about it the same way you think about, well, they did. So you're saying they had cars. It's just in the sense that the people of that time were just as smart as we are.
I reckon they used elephants to help pull things around.
Probably
they might have, but they could also just use. They could have used horses. They could have used other beasts of burden.
No,
lots of them are
better.
Still used today.
What would have stopped them from having? What would have stopped them from having some type of power source? Because we think all they had was fucking fire. Again, we figured out electricity prior to all the technology that we have today. So it's not that it's impossible at all. They had everything you would need.
It's not impossible, but we haven't found old electric motors and stuff like that to give the idea that electricity was being harnessed for we don't find evidence of it, but that doesn't mean they didn't just like somehow make all that technology disappear to make sure we didn't find that out about them.
Okay. Have you ever seen those shows? Yeah, but have you ever seen those shows about what would happen if like a city was deserted? How long would it take nature to take over?
I have, yeah.
Yes, life without humans.
Yeah, so
I think I've seen a show like that. Yeah,
we're thinking, we're thinking of a nuclear power plant. We're thinking of a steel fucking Caterpillar 10,000 watt fucking generator. It doesn't need to be that to supply great power, right? And again, it doesn't need to power a whole city. It would just need to be something on site that would help accomplish this feat.
They didn't have the level of metallurgy to do that. Like, it's ridiculous.
But would you need metal? But do you specifically need steel? Do you need metal to conduct electricity?
No, but they didn't have the resources necessary to do so.
I believe they had an abundance of material.
You can't zap a rock with electricity and make it levitate either, right? Like not in a constructive way. You might be able to like blast one to a place, but like to use electricity to move things, we have to harness the electricity somehow. Like just hitting shit with lightning bolts doesn't build shit.
What about if you need rock from a quarry? How do you extract that rock from a quarry? Because we all do know that those rocks
put it on a stone boat and drag it out with horses. That's the way it's been done.
But I mean, that would lessen the time it takes to build a pyramid if you have a way to get the chunks of rock you need, right?
Yeah.
Again, these blocks were not, and that's the other part I don't hear people talking about. The blocks used for the pyramids, they didn't get them from a quarry that had fucking blocks. I mean, quarries typically are solid rock formations within a site.
This is boring and stupid.
I know. Then you should probably just like drive somewhere and.
It's pretty exciting and interesting. I don't know what he's talking about.
He wants to talk about killing all countries and all that kind of stuff, so it doesn't really matter what he says anyway.
Killing them how? Like why? How is that? How is that germane to this conversation? This isn't going to be the same idiot I talked to yesterday, is it?
You know what? Red Tape? Yeah, he's a cringe artist.
Okay. I did have a half of a cringe conversation yesterday, and then I gave up. All right. Well, I don't want to talk about cringe conversation. I work with people in quarries all the time. Quarries are awesome. So I'll talk about quarries all fucking day long.
Yeah, I've worked them too, and you know as well as anyone the time it takes to have to break that rock up. They had to have done the same thing, right?
Yeah, we get better and better at breaking it, but that doesn't mean they weren't able to.
I'm saying they had to have had a way to do it, and I think again because they were just as smart as we are. They could have come up with some means of technology to help them in this feat, rather than us just think they were fucking cavemen. And how would
I don't think anybody does think they were cavemen.
No.
I consider them part of a pretty advanced civilization.
Yeah, but the ways we assume they built it is very non-technology based.
I think of them using a lot of advanced technology. I'm assuming they had mechanical advantage, the wheel, definitely fire, definitely meteorology. I might be pronouncing that wrong. I think they had access to metals. I think they had access to pretty modern tools. I think they'd harnessed fire. I think they'd harnessed the wheel and mechanical advantage in the way of pulleys, levers, and I think they had striking tools, fastening tools, and measuring tools. And so with all of that, that's all you need to build a stone structure. They were building stone structures. And I don't need more convincing than that because I'm already there. I've built lots of shit in my life.
But that's the problem, Trigger. Like, but when you hear the classical story about the pyramids being built, none of that reality is put into construction out of it. It's weird. I think it's weird. I agree with you. I'm 100% agreeing with you on that.
I don't know which story.
Can I ask? You said you've done quarrying, right?
If you watch Discovery Channel, they don't talk about any type of technologically innovations that would have helped them build the pyramids. They talk about rolling boulders on sticks. And
yeah,
I'm
because that's
gaslighting,
what they use, man. Like, we
don't
don't have any archaeological proof that they had like this advanced technology.
Again, these things don't necessarily need to be what you're thinking of, like a caterpillar generator. Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
Like dog, like
let
they
me
just
let
did
me get
not
in
have
for
the
a second.
resources, the metallurgy
Yes, sir.
to make these things. They
I have
had
a
the
question for
time,
Trucker.
resources
I have
to
a
do this
question.
manual.
I guess you can't hear me, huh? Okay.
I'm willing to answer a question. I heard somebody ask me a question.
Thank you. Much appreciated. I posted some rocks, some stones at 26 past the hour. You said you worked in many quarries. You think you can replicate this?
Show the backside.
I can't. I'm driving a truck, so I can't check what you're talking about.
Okay.
But if you're talking,
I'll describe them.
Like, describe what it is you want me to replicate.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen them. You know those? They look like, I call them melty stones, where they have multiple multiple edges, and they're like different shapes stuck to each other irregularly. You know what I'm talking about?
An agglomerated rock. It sounds like what you're talking about.
It looks like rock in a Tetris form.
Okay.
Yeah, like multiple edges, multiple curves, erratic shapes stuck together, in mostly Central and South America.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't. The stonemasons can do some pretty cool shit. So yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I thought you meant like a natural quarried rock, but yeah. Yeah, I don't see any reason you couldn't keep cutting edges off of a rock to give it multiple surfaces, if that's what you're talking about. Like, and I don't know what that would have to do with quarrying, but stone cutting, yes. Like you're saying.
Well, it has to. Well, the way I see it is
solid, right?
Go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I was just saying, like, you mean like a shape other than a simple like rectangle or cube type shape, right?
Yeah, like shapes that you ask yourself why. Like, why would you do that unless you're showing off? And the question is, can it be replicated today by stonemasons with such accuracy? Like, you can't stick a playing card in there. You know what I'm talking about?
I've never encountered a human being that showed off their skill before. So yeah, no, definitely never. Didn't happen in the past. Can't happen today.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I don't know why you guys make it so hard to have a conversation, man. It's fascinating.
Yes, I think a talented person showing off their skill would do something like that. That's what I'm saying. Yes. Humans with talents show them off all the time. If you think I'm going to be surprised to find out that a stonemason with super sick skills did something awesome, no, I'm not. I'm just going to clap for them and say that's fucking cool.
So they build huge structures, like walls, like meters long, right? Feet, yards long, just to show off.
Yeah, especially if someone pays them to do it. If they're good enough at it and they do it as like a demonstration, and then somebody pays them like $1 gazillion to like do it for them at their place, like a lot of people will do stuff like this as a demonstration of their skill in order to like get business. It's not that uncommon.
Okay.
What about the NASCAR lines in South America? Like, why would you make a giant spider that only someone at 20,000 feet can identify, or someone very high up? Like, that's to appease your God, I think. You're saying, hey, God, can you send us a spider? Or, those NASCAR lines I'm talking about, or those images on those planes.
Why would you do that? Giant can of Raid.
What's that?
Maybe they're asking for a giant can of Raid.
Yeah, but I mean, why would you do that? Why would you bother making a big line out in the middle of a plane that does nothing other than someone up in the air can go, oh, they made straight lines. That's like us saying, hey, God, we're here. Come and visit us. Or don't make it rain.
Bored artist, maybe? You never know. Maybe it was like an ancient god's like homework. Like that was, instead of like writing on the blackboard 1,000 times, I will not make fun of Mr. McGillicuddy's accent, you know? It's like they had to draw a spider on the ground and you know.
We want a shrubbery. Well, actually, are there any pyramids made uphill, up in the mountains, like, because the Egyptian ones are all down near the coast, I guess. So have the rocks ever been taken inland and uphill? I've never seen any, so I don't know.
I don't know. I know that there's other pyramids in South America that are built differently, but I don't actually know their proximity to water off the top of my head.
Not so much to water, up mountains. Up mountains, we could make it hard.
Up the side of like a mountain. I don't know if you need to build one on a mountainside because you're already up at a pretty good elevation, right? Like there's a lot of rock there. Like bringing rock to a place
Machu Picchu
building up high is interesting, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Machu Picchu. Yeah.
Yeah, Machu. Is that one of the? Is that a South American one or a Central American one?
Yeah, dude, that breathing. Can you put your microphone a bit away from your mouth? Because that breathing's really stressing me out.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll stop breathing.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, it's just that we hear it all the time, and I've got really good headphones. I'm not trying to be a bastard. It's just, yeah, Machu Picchu. Is that pyramids though, or is that just more structures and skeletons and sculptures?
There's a lot of stonework, a lot of sharp cuts, a lot of designs, holes. It's obvious, like machining, like, yeah.
In your view, it's machining. Yeah, you view it as machining.
Yeah, in my view and thousands and millions of other people's view, yeah.
Because that's the way we think. We think we drill a hole.
Have you seen some of that stuff close up? The H block and you seen the H blocks?
Yeah.
Essie, what's the video I posted? Do your research.
Yeah, looks good. I'll watch it later. Give us a rundown. They figured it out, of course. Is that what it is?
It's been quite a while since I've been on that topic, so I couldn't recite what he's saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of these videos. Oh, we finally figured it out, and yeah, it's a line to Mars and blah blah. Yeah,
no,
but
that's not what this is. You should watch his content. He makes really good content on these ancient megalithic structures. Also the pyramids. He has an entire playlist on it where he breaks down everything we have in sources and techniques of the time, how they did the alloys and stuff like that. Like this is a primo YouTube page. He doesn't have a huge following, but very good content.
There's also one where they show you how the Easter Island statues got walked around, and then how 10 or 15 people with ropes on either side, once they time it, they can make these big statues walk. And if you fuck it up, they fall over and you break them. And they've actually found where a couple on Easter Island did get broken because they fucked up walking them. But yeah, we used to think you couldn't walk those stones around. But 15 people with a desire to prove it can.
I seen that one, yeah. That one looks plausible. Yeah. I seen that one. That was neat. Yeah.
Yeah, and you think, like, I was thinking, why would you build these things? Like, it's a waste of time and money. But if you put those around your island, no one's going to come and invade you. Because from a distance, they're going to think there's these human giants there who are going to fucking beat you up. So it's a kind of a bluff. To me, that's all logical that people would do that shit. That it almost has a purpose. A defensive bluff, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, but it ended up defeating themselves.
Yeah, because they wasted all their resources building all these statues.
Allegedly, but yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's not only that part of the world that has these stones, right? You can go in Japan, China, and they found like vast underground rooms and chambers and whole areas. And you see like, if I can find the pictures, I can post them. You see like scoop marks. You see like whole cavities, like, scoop marked out, and you see floors that are like level and shining. You ever see those? It's not just the pyramids. There's a lot of
But
stonework.
honestly, like manipulating stone is not a big mystery. Like we can replicate the techniques that we know were used in those times. You can go home right now and use the same kind of abrasive and water, and you can grind down granite to be a glassy surface. You can do that with the exact same techniques as back in those days. Like, so stone working and manipulating stone is not a mystery. Like making a full cave from scratch, it's just a little bit of fire setting and then just beating up the stone until you got a room, and then you just have to fine tune it in the end to get it as straight as possible.
And when you see how someone cuts a diamond, it's very precise in the way they cleave it. They don't just go bang, chip, 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 chip like a stone thing. They actually hit a certain angle and get it just right to get the diamond cut right, because it's got to be able to reflect light and a sparkle through it. And a good jewel cutter, like some of the diamond cutters, they stress. They try to think about how to cut a diamond or cleave it for months on end, you know what I mean? Getting the machete angle just right, or the diamond cutting tool, which is diamond itself. So yeah, like that's just really, it's a you've got to be fucking good, you know what I mean? And to get good, you've got to do it a lot. But to do it a lot, you don't get to do it until you're good. So it's a bit of a tricky one. Like jewel setting's a lost trade now. If you can do it now, you get a lot of money. But 100 years ago, there were jewelers, blacksmiths were everywhere. Now, none of us know how to fucking knock up a sword.
Have you guys seen those caves that I'm talking about? The size of them, found in Japan and China.
You know, there's one that's in Norway, I think. It looks like an ice giant's cave. It looks like his big chair. Because of the way the stalactites are formed, it looks like the throne. If you walked in there, you'd think, this is where fucking Northika or whatever his name is, the ice giant, would have lived. It looks like a giant's house. Some of them are really cool. What's that thing in Ireland? Is it the Giant's Causeway, where all the rock got cracked and it's all hexagons and pentagons? And it looks like I think it was molten rock and the water flowed in over it and cracked it up really quickly. It looks awesome. And I think it's the Giant's Causeway in Ireland.
Yeah, but for example, with the manipulating a stone, we're talking about generational accumulated experience in manipulating stone, even with ancient techniques. Like it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and what Terry said with elephants, give us 5 or 10 elephants, and you could drag some pretty big stones around and wear them out the right way and get them square and turn them over.
Even just apply 100 pulleys and just double lay what is it called, a hemp rope. Hemp rope can take like 500 kilograms alone in just one string. Double that, 1,000 kilograms. Double that, 2,000 kilograms. You just scale it up. That's just quote unquote basic engineering.
Yeah. Be cool to have so much time and money on your hands. You could just get an idea like that and say, let's see if we can do it, and get a few mates together and have some beers and do it.
Yeah, well, it's just a logical process. Like, first of all, one man couldn't do it. Then he had one extra man. Now he can suddenly pull it. Well, what if we apply that logic to the rope too? Holy shit, we could actually, that actually worked. And that's just how it progressed,
You know what?
It's really not rocket science.
I asked my brother, who's a car mechanic, how do you, with new cars, you just can't see an obvious place where screws are that hold the dash in, like an older 80s model car, you can see the Phillips head screws everywhere and you can undo it. Nowadays, they're all concealed. And I said to him, like, how do you find out where to pop what and push where to get that? And he goes, generally, you've got to fuck one up in order to find out how to not fuck them up. You know, like when you want to get the front speedo out of a late model Honda car, like they're just so well cleverly done. People go out of their way to conceal these things of how they're put together. It makes them hard to pull them apart.
Or find the beam behind a dry wall. You got to beat one up first.
Yeah, exactly. Or we have things called a stud finder now. Yeah, you go along with your little stud and it lights up when there's a bit of wood that you can bang a picture into. The older guys used to just go along with their hammer and tap it, and then they'd realise there it is, just there, and they'd bang in the nail. They just did it by ear because they knew what to listen for.
But generally, with the pictures that AC is posting right now, like you can actually find. I wouldn't say it's this specific example here, but you can find the specific quarry to some of these examples, and you can actually see that they actually just used the natural cracks of the stone. That is why they get these varied shapes, and all they had to do was file them down, and they could do that with sand and potassium, water, abrasive, and make it all click together, because that is how it was formed, or how they cracked naturally in the ground. They just used how the ground cracked the stone. That's how you get all these magnificent shapes in many of the cases, because that's just how the stone cracked naturally.
Well, I'm glad you guys got it all figured out.
I haven't gotten it figured out, but we can replicate these things, and then we can say, maybe they did that. That's a very plausible explanation. Especially when there is still undone things in the quarry that fits together with the last piece set in a wall, for example. Like that's a very good piece of evidence that is actually how they did it in some examples. Not saying every single example, but there is many natural and logical and explanations that has evidence to it.
What's that dodecahedron thing? You know, it's like a 12-sided dice, but it's hollow. And they found them around the Roman Empire, and there's different size holes in them. And so they don't know if it's a game or if it's, some people reckon it's for making fingers for gloves. It's called a dodecahedron. If you look it up, and no one still has worked out what they actually did, because each hole's a different size, like you would put things in to size them, perhaps. Like, I don't know if you want to know how big your olives were, perhaps. But these things, they're like a 12-sided dice. So if you know what that is, and each hole in them, because they're hollowed out, or hollowed, each hole is a different size. And they're common. Like, they don't know what they are for. And they've got little balls on the end, so they sit down on a level surface. And some people reckon you put your finger in and weave the glove around it. Use it to weave the gloves. And other people reckon it's just a game, like a dice game. Others say it's got some sort of thing for sharpening arrows. It's like no one can work it out, but it's a dodecahedron, I think his name is, and it's Roman Empire, a Roman puzzle. Maybe it's just a puzzle.
Essie, have you seen the backside of these walls? They are not fitted at all. They are just rough stone. That which means that they have only manipulated it to make look good in the place in the direction that people are seeing it. Because if you go on the backside of these, it's just rough stone.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. My question is, how did they manipulate the stone in such a manner, and why? Why would you do that?
To make it look good.
To make it look good?
And how? Well, there's many techniques. Let's say that you have two rough surfaces, and you slide these stones together, and they do not fit 100%. What you can do again, I will pivot back to, you take a sand plus something abrasive, and you pour that shit down into the middle of it, and then you have some copper sauce, and then you just fucking grind down until you can't get any more off, and then you slide it together again, and you repeat the process until they pretty much look like that. You can replicate these techniques today. I'm not saying that's how they did it, but it's a plausible explanation how they get them to fit like that.
Seems like too much work for no reason. Look at the other one I posted. Like, these are structural. This is not like let me finish, bro. Please. This is not just like an artistic, oh, look at my work here. These are functioning structural things. Why would you do that? Why would you go through all that trouble to do that? And how would you do that? Like efficiently, quickly? You're talking about sand and standing there grinding them. It would take like days to do one stone.
No, not particularly. We are talking about generational experience in manipulating stone. You can't say that over 200 years of generational accumulated experience that they wouldn't have found a very, very efficient way of doing it. Even if it would take long time today to replicate it, we unskilled workers that do not have the accumulated experience, we would do it. Let's say we would spend 7 days doing it. Back in those days, it might be as fast as 1 day because they were working on shift. They were working from sun up to sundown and stuff like that. Like all the factors, you just have to add them in, and it makes sense without saying, "Oh, it's impossible," because it isn't. We can replicate this today.
It makes sense to you, maybe, but it doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't go about building a wall like that in that manner, unless it was very easily, unless I can manipulate the stones as easily as we can do it today. I wouldn't do that. Like it doesn't make any logical, monetary, or physical sense at all.
Yeah, but you're thinking in 2025 year terms. We're talking about 7,000 to 10,000 years ago, plus minus whatever. Like we are not the same. We don't think the same in time regarding time.
Okay, I'll give you that, but why? Why would they like it? It doesn't make sense. Like you don't think back then they thought of manpower, money, time, efficiency. You don't think back then they thought in that manner? They just said,
yes,
"Oh, well,
that's what
we'll use the most hardest way to manipulate a rock to build a wall."
Well, it was the most efficient way back in those days. And again, as I said, generational accumulated experience made them very efficient.
What do you mean it's the most efficient? How? It looks like a more burden, more cumbersome, more time consuming.
I give you that. I don't know if that is the most efficient way, but there is no evidence suggested that is showing a different way of doing it, except for it might have been laser, levitation, ether technology that we have no evidence for. On one side, we have evidence and we can replicate the methods, and on the other side, we have imaginary ideas. I take the one where we can actually replicate it. I might be wrong, but I bet you on my head that it's closer to the truth than just imagining up shit.
Well, you're imagining stuff. I'm just showing you it's there. Obviously, they did it somehow, right? And you're telling me they can do it. They can put sand there and grind it. And I'm telling you that would take like days to do one stone, right? Or like maybe hours and hours, where there's more efficient ways to do it now. I don't know. Maybe you're not getting what I'm trying to tell you. Like it doesn't make sense to build a functional wall that way, unless you can do like a sculpture, like a theatrical and show off. But to build in that manner, it doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like my answers reflect that I actually do take your words in. And I also made the point that you think it's inefficient. You think it's taking a lot of time. You didn't live 9,000 years ago. You don't know how they actually consider time. Like they didn't look at the watch every fucking 2 minutes to see if 5 minutes was passed. That it's just a different time.
Okay, so you're saying they had unlimited time.
It's not what I said, but sure, let's go with that. They have unlimited time, and they wanted to look as pretty as possible, and they had the techniques they had. What up?
So it was okay for them to build a functional wall, and the wall would take 100 years. Like it doesn't make any sense, bro. Like you build for your time, right? Unless you're building a monument or a church. But when you build roads in that, you're building them for your time to function within your time frame, no?
I mean most of these.
I guess we're thinking of this different ways.
As far as we know, most of these sites is also located near if not a temple itself, where people either gathered around yearly, annually, whatever, or they lived around. So of course, if they had a temple where they were worshipping their gods, they would want the temple to look as pretty as possible in honor of their gods and also the surrounding area. It makes sense.
Sure, man. I mean, I guess if you want to think of it that way, to me, it doesn't make any sense. No sense whatsoever for the practicality, engineering, time frame, money. It makes absolutely no sense at all. To me, anyways. I mean, you can think of it, how you wish.
Well, can you come up with like potential techniques that would have done it, that maybe have some evidence to back it up? Like any suggestion at all, or just saying it's impossible and whatever you say, I don't like it because reasons?
Bro, do you see what I'm posting? You're the one that in your mind you're coming up with these imaginary, well, they could have done it with sand and time. I mean, you can think of these fantasy things in your head, right? But
they're not fantasy things.
It's worse than what I'm doing. I'm saying, wow, I can't imagine how they did it, what technology they used. And you're telling me, well, it's possible they could have used some sand and time. Like,
well,
sure,
we do
man,
know a lot about. We do know a lot about the techniques and whatever materials they had in those times. For example, with the Egyptians and stuff like that, we know exactly what the alloys were that they were using. Copper or bronze with what is it, arsenic, something like that. We know exactly what alloys they were using. We know how long they last versus the intensity of work they have been using them and stuff like that. So we know a lot of things about the times and what they had. And then we can make the leap and say, well, we also have some scriptures of some sort of some of these techniques. And then we have to make an assumptuous leap and say, well, if these people had it at this time, I assume that maybe these people in a different region of the world maybe have figured the same out again, because it's very simple techniques.
Maybe the ancient Greeks had horses that could fly. Maybe. Sure, I can.
Do we have evidence for that?
Yeah, there's a stone statues of Pegasus, pictures. See what I'm saying? Like, you can say maybe to anything. What I'm showing you is concrete evidence of stones that have been manipulated in ways that we possibly cannot do today. Now, if you want to think and say maybe this and maybe that, that's on you, bro.
Well, you say possibly cannot replicate it today, but we can.
Know that.
We do know how to manipulate stone. We do know about fire setting. We do know about sand plus other things, abrasives. We do know that they work. We do know how to drill holes in various stone, even granite. We know how to polish granite with simple, basic techniques that they had 5,000 to 10,000 years ago to make it look glossy, and where you can pretty much mirror yourself in it with these techniques. And all you need to do is use your hands. It's all there is to it. It's not that complicated. You can buy 2 pieces of granite today. You can make your own abrasive, and you can make a near glass surface of granite just by fucking grinding the 2 pieces together. Like, it's not that hard. You can do it.
Sure, bro. Yeah, that's it. You can do it, man. Yeah, just say yes. Look at the last picture I posted. Look at the last picture.
How much have you actually worked with stone?
Look at the last picture. Did you see the last picture I posted?
Like the one from the cave?
Yeah, I see those scoop marks.
Sure. What about them?
How do you think those were done?
I don't know. You tell me how they were not done.
Time and sand, right? Time, sand, and water?
Well, I don't know this specific example. I don't know this specific example. But you have researched this. How did they not do them, and how do you think they did it?
Bro, it's a waste of time, man. If you haven't seen anything weird in all the pictures I've posted, it's like I'm wasting my time with you, man. Like, no disrespect.
Back to the script again. I do not agree with you, therefore I'm stupid.
Believe what you want, dude. It's fine.
Well,
it's fine. It was done by man using hands on their knees.
Yeah. On the last example, you have done the research. Tell me how they did not do it. Tell me how you think they did it.
I don't need to tell you anything, bro. I posted some pictures. I said what I had to say. Now you can believe anything you want, sir.
So what you did was post pictures and say, this is impossible. And you guys have to tell me exactly how they did it. When we offer up suggestions of how we know that in the time, the techniques that we're using, then you're just saying, no, that doesn't make sense to me, but I cannot offer up any explanation at all for how they did it. So therefore, we can only make the assumption that the information that you're coming with here, that you have taken that information from these lost ancient high technology guys that is pretty much just saying and using this grifter language that is saying, look at this, it's impossible, humans could not have done it, and then they go over to the next example without offering any explanation or anything like that. It's like taking you out of the YouTube grifter script.
Take a breath. Take a breath. This is what's called you spiraling and gaslighting me.
I'm not spiraling
That's what
at all.
It's called. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Triggered spiraling, gaslighting. That's what you're doing.
That's what you're doing.
No, I'm just showing you stuff and asking how was it done? And everything I post, you're saying, well, it could have been done like this. It could have been done like that, right? You're just making up what you have in your mind of how you think it was done.
No,
and you're getting upset.
This is not. Oh my God! This is not. As I said, this is not fucking coming from my mind. We know about the techniques used in ancient times. We know about it. We can replicate it today. It's not me making up shit.
Day, brother. Have a nice day. You're too triggered to have a conversation with.
You're stupid.
That's an ad hom. That's an ad hom right there.
Guys, you can have your difference of opinion. It really doesn't.
He doesn't have an opinion. He just says, no, it's impossible.
Well, yeah, kind of, but I know. Maybe try to, yeah.
See what triggered he is? It has to be his way, right? That's why it's not even worth talking to him.
But dude, you're an equal and opposite, though, because you're saying nah, and he's saying yeah. Like, I mean,
it's not equal and opposite, because I'm actually offering up things that we know.
I'm not saying that.
An equal
I'm just posting stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The one I think is if you gave someone a Rubik's Cube that had been really, really mucked around with and said, can you do this? Most people would go, nah. But there are people out there who can go flip, 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 and your Rubik's Cube is back to normal. Or what I would do is physically reach in with a screwdriver and pop the thing apart and reassemble it with the colours correct. So was I right in destroying and rebuilding the Rubik's Cube, or was I wrong? Oh, hello. How's everyone going?
No, we're talking about stones, bro. Like, I don't know why you're talking about Rubik's Cube and...
Because what I'm saying is someone would look at it and say it's impossible, and someone else would go, no, it's not. I can do it. You know what I mean? Like, just because you think it can't be done doesn't always necessarily make that so. Yeah, someone else may work out a way to do it, and that can make them a lot of money if they figure something out. That's why I digress.
Nobody's making the argument that it wasn't done. It can't be done. Obviously, it's been done. I've been posting pictures of things being done. The pyramids done. The question is how they were done. That's what we're discussing here.
Yes. And the thing is, like, in most of the older stuff, a lot of people think we need power tools. And by our standard, I would use power tools because that's the only way I know. But back then they had elephants and a lot of time. So we'd have to explore those options.
Like, look at that cave that I posted, Boomer. 53 past the hour, right? Like, look at that, man. Just forget about who's giving the information, right? Don't get triggered. Use critical thinking. Imagine, how could that have been done back then? Think about it. It looks like putty, like they were scooping stuff out, like, when you make ice cream and you take like a scoop out and it whirls in the thing there. That's what it looks like. Like, doesn't that give you like time to pause and say, man, how did they do that?
Yeah, I agree. It's totally fascinating.
And to think that a man did that with like Like how? Like on their knees, and they scooped up these perfectly, almost like parallel lines, and like seriously.
You don't think they had scaffolding?
They probably did.
Nah, no scaffolding there.
What was that one? The other one where they did Indiana Jones? It oh shit, starts with a P. You know the one I'm talking about? It's in the middle of the desert, and it's this beautiful looking facade of a building carved into the stone and the rock face.
Oh yeah.
Petra. Well, someone said, how could they have done that without modern scaffolding? I said, you start at the top and carve your way down. That way the scaffolding you're standing on is still rock, and it's not until you cut it out, it's gone. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. They thought you would have logically started at the ground and built up. So how can you get up 15 feet? No, you just climbed up 15 feet and dug your way down. Like, I thought that was to me, it was pretty simple how they did it, but this guy, I'm not saying he's dumb, he just didn't think of it the same way I did. But when I saw that in the Indiana Jones movie, I didn't believe that was a real place. I thought that was props. It looks too fresh and too new to be old. I just reckon people were clever, and we just don't give them credit for how clever they were.
Yeah, generational accumulated experiences.
Yeah, you could actually have, like, how's this? A rock, two big rocks, and then a rope between them hanging down, and then you tie a little rock into that and pull it backwards and forwards. So it's like a jackhammer, like a swinging hammer, an inverted hammer. So you pull it out and then let it go bang. So you only need to pull it out 3 feet and you get I don't know, quarter of a ton of rock smashing back. And then as you move your upper rocks, you'd move your upper rocks along, so your banging rock would move along as well. So that's a way of doing it, isn't it? Like an upside down jackhammer.
Less strenuous on the body and stuff like that. Very efficient, yes.
Yeah. What was that thing about the pyramids? I thought they'd worked out that the internal ramp system was the way they built it. 5 degrees. They went up from each 4 of the walls, they went up 5 degrees until they met, and then they start again and go around the outside and keep going up at 5 degrees. And then once it got up to the top, they decided, okay, this is the height, and they built all their little things in, made their little buildings and got it right. And then they took the actual proper capstone up to the top and then filled them in down. And then that way it looked like, how did they get them up there? Well, they didn't. They took them up on the ramps. And as they got to the top, they then did the second from top, third from top, fourth from top. But I think all the external stones have actually gone now off the pyramids. It's all second and third level construction. Yeah. There's no original outside. Apparently it was white and limestone and would have looked awesome and very intimidating to anyone approaching.
That's called the casing stone. You can still find some of them on the bottom.
Okay.
We'll call it casing stones, yeah.
Yeah, the outer side of it. Yeah, okay. In fact, I think the Sphinx, they didn't know about that kind of like, they dug and like, what the fuck? And they kept digging or it got unearthed by a sandstorm or something.
Well, that's intriguing in its own right because of the water markings that they found on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So that's a whole new,
Well, a lot of it they didn't really know about until they found Napoleon's gang found the Rosetta Stone that had, what was it? Latin, Greek, and ancient, whatever the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic language. And because it was like that, they could then work out, it was like, I don't know, the translator for the code. So because they could convert Latin to Roman or to hieroglyph, they then got to work out what all the Egyptian writings were. So that's probably one of the most important inventions, discoveries in modern human history, the Rosetta Stone. So thank you, Napoleon, you little arrogant French bastard.
You're a great man.
Hey. Yeah, thank you, ancient Greece, and the fact that they carved those 2 languages in that stone.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's no evidence. There's no, sorry, especially since we know that the ancient Greeks had Egypt for 300 years, right? There would have been some stories, some evidence of how they built those pyramids, but we just don't have any. Not by the ancient Greeks or the Romans that took over after that. So where is this evidence? If we have continuous history between the Greeks, the Romans, and us today, more or less.
Well, actually, no, because the Ottoman Empire did occupy Greece for 400 years or so, from 1500 to about 1800. So they could have actually overhauled it and got rid of it if they wanted to, because I don't think Muslims are noted for holding on to history from other people. So it could have got raped a bit there. But I mean, I know what you're saying. You don't think they could rape all of it and get rid of every bit of evidence. That'd be
as a matter of fact, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but as a matter of fact, part of the Enlightenment is when the Europeans, after the Dark Ages, found these Greek manuscripts, which were held by, wait for it, the Arabs, not necessarily the Ottoman Turks, because they hated the Greeks and they hated, anything to do with our religion, right? So yeah, point well taken.
Yeah, true.
But keep in mind, the Enlightenment that we experienced in our modern day ages, when they say the Enlightenment, which I call the Second Enlightenment, I can go into that, but whatever. That was because that's because Europe found the ancient Greek manuscripts. That's how the Enlightenment started.
Yeah. In fact, I saw a thing. What was there though? There was some books where one page was correct, but the next page wasn't. It was made as a way to throw everyone off the trail, because apparently they were scared that if these manuscripts had been found, they'd be burnt. So they deliberately made them jargon, or was it every second page you had to read, or something? It was done in a bit of a crude code. You couldn't just read it straight through and make sense out of it. You had to read every second page or every third, or you read the second page backwards, or there was something like that in there too. Really clever shit.
Well, keep in mind, all of it, right? All we know about Plato, Pythagoras, all these ancient Greek sages and scholars, it's all because of the Arabs.
Yeah.
They're the ones that kept it. Yeah?
Yeah. They keep going. Sorry.
Well, that's basically it. Like, they're the ones, because after the Dark Ages, like, Europe, was basically like, they had no knowledge of any of this stuff. And that's where the Enlightenment came in. When they found these books, they started reading Greek philosophy, science, history, and all that stuff. Yeah.
And I think the Library of Baghdad had a lot of really good medical knowledge. I think we've lost. I'm not quite sure about that. Does that sound right? The Library of Baghdad got sacked by a different bunch or a different group. Maybe the what were their name? The Mongols might have actually destroyed some really cool shit.
Yeah, well, we do have evidence of operations and brain operations back from the Egyptian days.
Oh,
so yeah, a lot of stuff has been lost for sure, or intentionally put aside.
Oh, that Windows on the brain skull, that still makes me shiver when I think of that. They actually cut 2 square bits out the back of your brain to look at your brain and see what it was doing. And they lived for a bit after it, a few days, I guess, until you died of infection.
Oh, no, there's evidence that they lived, because how do they know? Because of the way the skull healed. If it was just left like that and the person died, they would look a certain way. And apparently they can tell that that person lived after that.
I didn't know that. Oh, right.
Yeah, that's why I say, like, we put down the ancient past, but I think they had technology. It's evident, right? The pyramids. That, like, if that doesn't tell you, if a 300 tall building with massive rocks doesn't scream technology at you, I don't know what will. So
depends what you call technology too, because I mean, just a couple of levers moving way, that's bow and arrow. That's technology.
That's as simplified as saying, a couple of blade cuts here and there open your skull. No, that's like as simplistic as that, bro.
Oh, it's yuck.
You gotta see what we're. We think we're the greatest. We think we're the best civilization, and rightly so. We have TV, we have this and that, but we just don't know what the past was like. I'm trying to find these pictures of these caves in China. I can't find them. That's the only one I can find. If I find those, you guys are gonna freak out.
There's also that cave network in Turkey that they can only go in and dig in 2 months of the year because it's frozen or something. But that's like really elaborately dug out because it's soft sandstone and then the hard layers of granite. I can't teppanyaki or something like that. That's really cool shit.
Yeah, multi-layered city under with ventilation and doors and that's freaked out.
Yeah, so you'd be running away to get away from some Bedouin raiders thinking you're about to be raped or killed. These dudes would appear out of nowhere and say, "Come with us if you want to live." You jump in, then they close the doors, the big rolly doors. And then suddenly you'd be in this place that's like, what the fuck? I'm in heaven. I've died and gone to heaven. That's what you'd actually think, I reckon. And it's got some beautiful carved reliefs too. So you'd actually be going through looking at these reliefs, and that'd be like the movies of the time. Like as you're walking through, you'd be looking at, I guess so that's where biblical history came from. Got to make a coffee.
Yeah, that's why I usually I think the only way we can know for sure what it was like in the past, because they can rewrite history, right? But the stones don't lie, right? I think that's the only thing that we can have concrete evidence of. Let's put it that way.
I think you're right. As we know, people can tell fibs. And that's the biggest flaw, is people do tell fibs.
Yep, and the conquerors tend to write their own history, so there's that. So it's really tough. Yeah. It's really tough to really, separate the wheat from the chaff, like they say.
Yeah, the one where I think history is not written by the winners was World War II, because everybody, all the German generals after World War II were all blaming Hitler, and he wasn't around to say yes or no. So the stories they told were a bit, well, we have to believe him because there's no one else. But outside that, it is written, if the king wants you to think he was a good king, that's what got written into the history books.
Yeah, well, we gave those murderers, right, the Nazi scientists, a free pass because we wanted them for their technology. So that's why they got, like, von Braun got a free pass. He was a bloodthirsty killer in a camp that would hang the slowest worker every morning. So the story goes, right?
Yeah, but he had the secrets. So what he had was currency.
Okay, guys, I found some of the pictures. Check this out. Check this out. Check out the similarities of modern day tools and the scoop marks. Have a look.
Yeah, but because the general technique is the same, they just used hand power while we are using mechanical power, if that's the word for it.
Sure, I'm sure it's that, yeah.
What else should it be? Offer up a alternative. One that actually have solid evidence and not just images from today and back then and says, look, they look the same, therefore must be the same. That's not how it works.
What do you think, guys? Obviously, he's triggered and spiraling.
We're
What do you
curious
guys
about
think?
what you think. You're breaking up if you're trying to stay still.
Yeah, you're breaking up, bro. If you're trying to get in, you're breaking up.
One was made of soft clay, the other hard stone. They don't look similar to me.
All right,
no,
fair enough.
Not a rational explanation. We can't have that.
You're free to believe whatever you want. I mean, I'm just putting those things out there.
Well, you're not putting anything out there, really. You show an image and you say, oh, impossible, man couldn't have done that. That's not bringing something up. That's just baiting. I don't even know why we take a bait, but I guess we're bored.
I don't even know why you're talking. I'm not addressing you, but if you want to spiral and make comments, go right ahead.
I'm not spiraling at all, though. And it's a cope mechanism from your side. Every single time someone disagrees with you, you claim they're stupid because they don't agree with you. Then when they show that they're not, well, then you say, oh, you're just triggered, look at him spiraling, and then you move on. That's how you do it every single time. You don't actually present anything. You don't offer anything.
I just presented a whole bunch of pictures, bro. Like, your spiraling is showing. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I don't know what your problem is, what your issue is.
Just
it's
said
obviously personal. You know, I'm just
you know
posting
what
some
my issue
pictures,
is. I
showing
literally
some
just
stuff
said
that
it.
it has to
I
do,
literally
and you're
just said it.
interrupting me. You're interrupting me.
Yeah, because you're being
It's a
obnoxious.
telltale sign, bro, that you're triggered and spiraling. I
Oh
told you
my
before I
God.
wasn't
Back
going
to the
to talk
script
to you, but
again.
I broke my own thing. You know
Hilarious.
what? I'm going to go back to not talking to you.
Well, you can do that. I'm in the room, so you're talking to me regardless.
So for the rest of us, like, what do you think of those? Like, is that uncanny similarity there, the tool marks with modern day machines?
When it's photos, though, it's hard. Like, actually being there, you'd be able to go and feel things and see, like, what the other dudes say. It looks like it could be clay and one's granite or something. Like, I don't know. I can't see it well enough myself. But, yeah, it looks kind of it. But I don't think they had that machinery hundreds of years ago or thousands of years back.
I never said they had the machinery. I said it looks uncannily similar, like the pictures suggest. Yeah.
You're indicating.
So therefore, what? Did they have something that made similar things, or did they have similar tools? In which case, we can't find any. I don't know. What's the point?
Well, if you ask me, right, it appears, and this is just my opinion from what I've seen. It appears to me that in the past there were civilizations that were able to manipulate stone, and they have these traces are found worldwide, right? So it appears there could have been an older civilization thousands of years ago. It's just my my observation and what I've heard other people say as well. Like, you guys heard of Brian Forster?
No, not really. No.
You can check out his YouTube channel. He goes to all these Machu Picchu's and he's been there 30, 40 times. And he goes over a lot of this stuff. Talks about polymers. That's another way it could have been done, and casts and, you know, whatever. But if you ask me, that's my what I get from all of this. An old stone building worldwide civilization. At least one.
I mean, like, if they sort of had suggestions of techniques, like, I'd be really into it, but yeah, it's just hard when they show you something and say this, that, the other.
It's not this, that, and the other. I've posted various pictures, various stone workings worldwide. Now, what can I tell you? You either see it or you don't. This is just my opinion. And this is worldwide, right? Just about every continent you can find signs of stuff like this. Look at how massive that. Look at that man standing next to that structure. Look how massive that thing is. This is not mathematical theories and assumptions and bullcrap. This is actual stonework. You can go there and you can walk through it yourself.
A lot of slaves, a lot of time,
Yeah.
a lot of money. Just gather all that up in one area, a lot of time, and there you go. You got everything you see.
Yep. Case solved. Slave, sand, and time. Boom. Pyramid.
And if you don't do a good job, you're not going to get into heaven.
Right. Check this one out. Yeah, I don't just talk for nothing, man. I've seen this stuff. I've checked this stuff out. Look at this one. Look how huge that thing is, bro. Look at that one. Look at the size of that chamber. Wait, I hope I have one of the floor of this one. You guys will freak out on that. Look at this. Look at the size of that thing. Starting to get the picture, guys? Here, check out the floor. Look at this thing. Chisel, sand, and time, huh? Yeah, sure, that's it.
What else? We do not offer up anything. Just look at this image. Man could not have done this with the technology that we know they had in approximately that time. It must have been something else. What else? Give us something. Ancient high tech. Show us the evidence
for all of man's marvels. You just have a king, a ruler, preferably a wicked where he incorporates slaves. Get a lot of slaves together, and you have a lot of things. Make marvelous accomplishments.
You want professionals.
Why don't we go back to that system?
To review that work.
Why don't we go back to that system? We should go back to that system.
I mean, we are living in that system, are we not? According to what you said in the other server the other night, that we are all slaves working our 9 to 5. Yikes.
Yeah, yikes was the reaction from Gem Panda. Yeah, next time I bring it up and you feel some way about it, respond in real time and not the day after, so I can crush you and show you what it's about.
Crush me now.
Oh, please crush me. What were you presenting us that we did?
He's saying that everyone who has a job is a slave.
No, that's what your degenerate mind perceived it as.
Okay, well.
And you weren't the only one, as you are very well aware.
Well, fill us in.
What you said then.
Anyways, I'm not here to talk to you or the other clown.
Okay,
so
okay.
yeah.
You guys are fun.
So where do I sign up to be your slave? I could be interested. Are you hiring? Looks like Glory's not talking to us. Oh dear. What shall we do now?
You're done. You're muted.
One day I'll get tips on how to live off Glory and be a happier person for it. I haven't passed the test yet. Obviously, I need to do more.
Yeah. You need to investigate further.
What was that, Al?
I said you need to investigate further.
Oh, well, I just want to pledge allegiance to the all great Glory, but he won't take me on as a slave, and I'm a bit upset, actually, because I don't pass his standards.
What do you think that pays?
Yeah, I know. It says I'm just not good enough.
Was that the person who just came in here and said they didn't come to talk to us? Or to you, anyway?
Yeah, that's all right. Stockholm Syndrome will get me through. All praise Glory. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Hey, there's even a song about him. Wow.
Well, there is, yeah.
Must be a fucking gallon.
I think the Americans call their flag Glory. Or is it Old Glory? Or New Glory? I'm really not sure.
Yeah, there's a movie called Glory Hole too, so that must be a good movie. I'll best buy it and check it out.
Indeed. Indeed.
In fact, I believe it's a whole genre of movies. Glory Hole movies. So he is popular. Yeah. It's the whole glory hole. That means complete glory.
Maybe SC saw some, in that hole, maybe there were some like stone carvings in there that are inexplicable by any sort of human tool.
Drink the Kool-Aid. Are you serious, bro? You think it's a racist problem to think that the Egyptians didn't build the pyramid? And what color do you think they were, first of all?
The Egyptians?
Yeah.
There are people that say that when you assume it has to be aliens, that you're then therefore saying that people who weren't European of descent.
You never once mentioned aliens. Never once mentioned aliens.
No, I brought them up because it's because it's an old trope that, like, who built the pyramids and the Colossus of Rhodes, it had to have been aliens. And there's whole like YouTube channels dedicated to like going on and on about alien technology. That doesn't mean you said it.
Right. What I was actually referring to is the hyperperfusion theory promoted by the Atlanteans, where they came and they taught everybody how to build these big sites, and that's why the Great Pyramid is the best and biggest one, even though it's not. you know, because the white people built that, and then all the ones after that were worse because the white people weren't there anymore. That's literally what the theory is. I apologize, and I'm not saying you're racist. That's where the theory comes from.
Okay, but just for the record, you can research this. There has been documented evidence that some Egyptian kings and rulers at a period of time were black. So I'm just putting that out there for the record. You guys are aware of this? I'm sure.
No, no one is surprised that the rulers of Egypt were Egyptian. No, that doesn't surprise anyone.
No, that's not what I said. Maybe you didn't hear me correctly. Maybe you were doing something. That's not what I said.
Egyptians weren't white, is what he's saying.
I specifically said there was a period of time of Egyptian rule that the kings and the rulers were black. That's what I said. And I said it again.
As far as we know, they have always been a mixture.
Well, yeah, there was another period of time when the Greeks took over for 300 years. They were not black.
Remind me how you're not promoting the racist idea. We're just you lost me when you're like, but the rulers were black.
Yeah, that's being anti-racist. That's showing in various periods of time in Egypt there were different people ruling it. It's not being racist at all.
You're brushing it with racism with additional meaning, Kool-Aid. You're doing that. He's not doing that.
Oh, okay. So tell us more about the hyperperfusion and how the white people came and taught the black people how to build rocks. Go ahead.
You see, that is gaslighting right there. That's what you call gaslighting.
That's the theory you've been promoting for the last 2 hours, dude. It's literally called hyperperfusion. That is the name of the fucking theory. I'm sorry you're not researched in this.
No, that's not what I've been doing at all. Negative. What I said was the pyramids that the people that we think were the Egyptians that were like a descent, like a line. We have the Greeks there for 300 years. Then the Romans took over. What I said was those people, I don't think built the pyramids. Nothing to do with their skin color. They could have been as white as ivory. It's because there's no records of it. The Greeks don't have any records of it. And I said that I think the pyramids were built by an older civilization. I never mentioned color in that at all, or race. So I don't know where we're getting these ideas.
Yeah, but we live in a world where people, it is what it is.
From the people who wrote the papers,
he's still defending it.
Quoting.
He just told you he's not doing that. Whatever moronic fucking theory you're talking about, that's not what he's talking about. Stop enforcing it on him. He's not bringing up race. He's not bringing up color. Stop enforcing it on him.
I don't think he needs you to widen out.
Anyways, we need to stop addressing the fucking morons in here, man.
Is he at home at all? He don't need.
I agree. I'm going to go ahead. Right. So, do you agree or disagree with the hyperperfusion theory?
Don't engage him. Don't engage him. We'll show you where the power is. Cool.
The last 2 hours,
we'll show you where the power is. No one's gonna fucking engage you. Watch.
All right. Bye, Glory. Sorry, you don't deserve to have volume. So, SE, do you agree or disagree with hyperperfusion?
I could care less about it. It's not what I was talking about.
How is hyperperfusion not the exact thing you've been arguing for?
I don't care about hyperperfusion. I don't care about it. I'm merely talking about what I'm talking about. If you want to tie it to something else that I'm not saying, that's fine. But that's not what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Do you understand that?
The people who you're citing were literally the Nazis, as they were saying that because the people they met in Egypt did not have white skin, they could not have possibly built the big, beautiful buildings. Those are the people you're citing when you talk about this.
Oh no, that's different. No. Now I know what he's talking. No, those are Arabs. The people that he encountered there, most of them were Arabs. They were not the ancient Egyptians or the ancient Greeks or the ancient Romans. Do you understand that?
So racism. You're just straight up now defending racism because it was against quote unquote the Arabs.
Like I don't know what your
Hey,
issue is.
SE, don't worry. I know what you're talking about. This isn't just exclusive to the crap that Kool-Aid's talking about.
I'm calling you out.
This is all. This is
I originally started by saying the arguments you were promoting were racist.
Hey, tell this
now
moron
you are
to not
straight up
overspeak
saying
me. He's got me
things,
muted,
and I'm calling you the fuck out.
Tell this moron not to overspeak me. Yeah. So SE, the idea.
Watching Glory's just keep going.
Yeah, so he's intentionally doing it, ladies and gentlemen. He's
actually having somebody call it out.
Can we get a mute on DMOC, please?
Kool-Aid, do you have Gatekeeper muted?
Yes, he does. Anyways, what I wanted to say was, what SE is talking about
over the top of me and be an asshole.
What SE is talking about is not unique just to Egypt. They're all over the world, even in such places like I forgot what the name was, but you know, in Peru, like. They've got those things on top of the mountains. Even those people that live there say we didn't build it.
Yeah,
so no,
absolutely.
This has nothing to do with Nazis or whatever bullshit Kool-Aid is.
He's going to stand here in White Knight and scream over the top. He's literally adding nothing to the conversation, but he's giving you a great out. So well to go, Glory. You're now supporting racism.
Same
job.
with the idea
SE,
with those Peruvian fucking stones. You've all had some
all over the
images
middle
of
of that one, didn't he?
Where they're all
it's
like
amazing. He's so true, like a little girl.
There's those stones. You could tell that there's different builders. Kool-Aid. I recommend you take a break. You're not in good spirits right now.
I solved the problem.
Take a break. You should take a break, bud. You're not adding anything to the conversation. All you're doing is claiming people are being fucking racist.
No, take your own advice. Take a break.
Yeah. So thank you, SE, for bringing that up.
Yeah, no worries. In no way was that intended to be a racist statement. I'm sure everybody listening to me knows that wasn't meant a racist statement. It's just a fact. It is what it is. I mean,
then what did you mean? What did you mean by they're Arabs? Your word.
I said I didn't say Arabs the way you're saying it, the way you're trying to, bro. It's like your game is not going to work. But I'll answer.
He's not in a good spirit. Engaging. He's just looking to destroy you, basically.
Yeah. It's for everybody to see, right? So it's not a problem. This kind of hatred and vitriol. It's all right. Calm down. You'll be good. It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Yeah. So go ahead and continue supporting that you're not racist because they're just Arabs.
You see, that's another dig. That's another ad hom. I never said that. I just corrected you and told you when Napoleon is interrupting me again while I speak. You know what, bro? You're just not worth talking to. Have a nice day.
Yeah, not now he is.
Because you're a racist. You're a racist fascist who is promoting racist ideals. And I'm sorry you got called out on it. Stop being a fucking racist.
Is that acceptable, guys? Other mods,
ignore him. We have a word here. It's called demons. We hope for our
It's acceptable to say stop being a racist.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yes,
Kool-Aid.
that's fucking acceptable.
No one cares. Kool-Aid. Fuck off.
You just showed your vitriol hate. Like, I don't know how you look at yourself, and I don't know how you sleep at night. Do you see me in your dreams? Like, do you have dreams of me? Like,
no.
I think
I sleep
like
just
from you. Yeah, and you're
by saying stop being a racist.
It looks very bad on you. You lost an argument, right? And the only thing you have to fall back on is an ad hominem. It's like really pathetic, bro. I never seen you this low. I must have really affected you badly.
Okay, Essie, here's your argument.
I'm just laughing and enjoying
hyperperfusion. Here's your argument. Hyperperfusion. Oh, that's a racist thing? Okay, it's not really racist because they're Arabs. Your word.
You see that? You see the hatred and vitriol in tone? I never said it like that. I never meant it like that. I explained it to him how I meant it. This is a well-known theory. Multiple people talk about it, but somehow he wants to link that with racism. Keep going, bro.
He's not in good spirits. There's no point in engaging him.
The hyperperfusion theory came out of a Nazi group. You're literally quoting Nazis, dude.
He feels the need to interrupt. That's another telltale sign.
Anyways, I just posted an image. This is one example of
I
such
do
a thing
apologize.
where,
You got your feelings hurt.
where
Some people should stop being
where the people living there
racist, SE.
This is an example where the people living there literally claim that no, we actually didn't build those things. These stones I just posted, they have in Peru. You can see these. You could see a gradual progression of the construction and building of these stones over.
And then you got your little glory white timelines. Keep
and
hiding
different
behind
peoples.
him. It's really
And
funny.
the ones you see at the bottom, the huge mortarless stones, those are the ones that the Peruvians themselves say no.
For what? Calling you a
build
racist?
that.
Stop being a racist, and I will stop calling you a racist. That's on you, buddy.
Can we get a moderation on this guy?
Put a sock
so
in it,
perfect.
Before I
Look,
put a sock in it, dude.
Is there a mod here? Is there a mod besides me? Nobody wants to speak up. There's mods in here. Nobody wants to speak up here. Why is that?
Well, where's the mod? Come on, mod. Put this. Yeah.
I don't want to have to mod myself. Is it acceptable for this guy to keep calling us racist over and over?
No, it's not. He should grow up and put a fucking sock in it and realize that no one wants to hear his shit.
So I'm going to leave him on mute for a while so he calms down. But I don't want to be accused of, abusing my mod powers, right? That's why I'm kindly asking if there's another mod here.
No, you're fine, SE. I'm working on my airplane. I can't do anything right now. But you're
So
fine.
I'm good, right? You agree with me? Okay, that's fair enough. Another mod spoke up.
SE is racist to mute people.
Yeah, imagine that.
He was just purposely disrupting the room in order to call you a racist. I think he's a turd. Good work, SE.
Why did he think you're racist? Like, surely black aliens could have made the pyramids. If your question is why and who and how, could have been anyone.
Well, yeah, and I specifically mentioned just to prop up the black race, right? That there was documented evidence of black pharaohs. I said that in order to prop up down anybody. Yeah.
You're even saying they could have done some of this. And then he jumped in to say, you're racist.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, what I know what his point is. If you say Africans couldn't have done it, it must have been aliens or God. That's what he's saying is racist, because then we're not giving the locals a chance, whatever color they were.
Well, what I said
the
was
origin of the theory was done by Nazis.
So if you say,
sorry, what?
But I've got that argument.
He's saying that the origin of the theory, that it wasn't the Egyptians, was made by Nazis. That's what he said. And therefore, by supporting that idea, you support the Nazi racists. That's what he said.
Yes, he just slipped into his definition, just. But, of course, Nazis were interested in who built them. And, of course, some of them believed it couldn't have been the blacks. But SE didn't say that.
Remember how mad Hitler got when a black man won, got an gold medal?
The race. Yeah. That was beautiful. There was an American too. That was beautiful.
Jesse Owens. Yes, Jesse Owens was his name.
Yep. His face dropped to the floor like he was furious his master race wasn't the best. Yeah, that was beautiful.
I gave my answer in text.
Racism, there's nothing, he just tried to sidetrack, right? It has nothing to do with
that.
Yeah, put that aside. Nobody said that. This is just the machinations of Kool-Aid.
So my answer would be partly they're obviously building to show off, but that still doesn't answer why they want to show off.
Well, there is kind of an answer for that. It's called building wonders. Like civilizations in the past, in order to show off their wealth and power, they would build like the Colossus of Rome, or the Pharaoh, the Egyptians will build the pyramids and stuff like that. Like, so there is reasons why they would do that.
It's just like that huge pillar, let's say, for one example. What was that plan for? Why so big?
That's a good question, man. Yeah.
I mean, you could be really boring nerd and just say it's because they wanted to see how big they could cut a stone. No one even planned to move it. They were just seeing how big they could cut one.
Like the pregnant woman stone, the one I posted before in Lebanon. That's 1,200 tons. 1,200 tons. The biggest stone we've moved in modern history was 340 tons.
You know,
and we had to build a special platform.
There's different ages. You heard of like the Bronze Age, the Stone Age. I'm really shit at history, so I don't know which order it goes in. But it feels like the Stone Age sticks out because it's big. But I wonder if there's other like metal in the Metal Age. Was there something amazing that we can't explain?
Well, we did discover agriculture because of the plough and the beast of burden. And then because we could make more food than we had to eat, we actually had excess food, which gave us trade. So although there's the Stone Age into the Iron Age, or the Bronze Age, or the whichever one, although that's how it's stipulated as the metal, it's probably more the fact that we worked out how to trade, and pottery was probably the most important invention. Although we take it for granted, pottery and a way to store your food without it spoiling was probably a very advanced technology.
We sort of moved on from Stone Age, but there's a reason why we were building at that scale. I think that's still a question.
Like, you mean Stonehenge?
I mean, what SE's shared, these big, huge stonemasonry projects around the world. There's a few that are just larger than normal.
Yeah. Well, my theory, and that's kind of a bit simpler, is the bigger and better you build your stuff, the better the God is you'll attract. Because we're omni God, one God. But back then there were loads of gods. So the bigger and better your stuff, the bigger and better the God is you'll attract. Because you wanted to go and visit a God in the afterlife, I guess.
That is what I want to connect. So we think we can please the gods by building mad pillars. So in our heads, we think if we build the biggest pillar ever, God is going to like us.
Yeah. And maybe the guys over in South America thought, if we do a big tarantula, God will see we're here and at least look at us. Yeah, so we're trying to...
Yeah.
No, we're trying to think about the time. Like all these quote-unquote symbols, they had meaning. For example, that pillar could be signaling something like this is for a patron deity or something like a specific one, for example, that is represented by a fucking phalanx or pillar or something like that. You know, and a big room like the long U caves or something like that could be, you know, to earth gods or something like that. That need big. I don't know. It could be anything like that. Why they build them, I don't know, but they build them, and yeah.
Yeah,
and on the
the motive could be anything,
right.
but it doesn't really matter. You know, the motive really doesn't matter here.
Well, that's what I'm interested in because SE asked why, and I've asked myself why before. The motive's interesting. Why our granddad was obsessed with
in
this
one
shit.
in one of the pyramids, there's all these paintings on the wall that are actually the roadmap for the king when he dies, because you know how to pull all the bits and pieces out and embalm them, and then the king's spirit would then read the roadmaps, and he needed to take shit through, and he had to meet the three-headed hounds on the way through, and there were all these things given to him for his journey into the afterlife. And once he got there and set up, all of his worthy followers, who probably helped him build the pyramid, would follow him into what was Nirvana or whatever the particular heaven was at the time. So there was a whole thing in the actual paintings of the wall. There were roadmaps of how to get there. So it was your God going the first part. Vikings had a similar thing too.
No, I think you're right. Yeah. It's amazing. Like it feels like they thought the plan was working. They had a really specific plan.
Yeah.
Tim's our resident Viking.
Yikes.
Well, there was one point where the grave robbing got so bad that all the high priests at the time said, basically they got together and said, we've actually failed our kings because all the grave robbers are getting in and stealing all the jewelry and fucking up all the things. When the God King comes back, his body's going to be fucked up. We need to get them all back out and go and bury them somewhere special where they won't get disturbed. And they actually undertook the thing of exhuming all of the Valley of the Kings at the time and having to take them all to another place.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so that was pretty fucking heavy shit. So they believed their responsibility was there. It was big and it was real to them.
It all sounds logical, except the fact that God doesn't show his face now. And that makes us think, why did they believe it so badly back then?
Yeah, good point.
Like, if there was a group of gods and they really did like when you built them a good temple and when you built a good circle, when you predicted an eclipses, whatever you're doing, and they were impressed.
You also have to consider, back in those days, in those mythological days, what the relationship between God and gods and the real world here is that, chaos and order, and whatever man did was to please gods, so they would not cause the chaos, like fertility gods in the spring and stuff like that. We worship those, so there wouldn't be chaos in the seeding of the field and birthing new children and all that kind of stuff. So they gave them the offerings, so the chaos wouldn't come to the door. So these big monuments could be similar. I'm not saying it's why they did it, but you also have to, like, the time that these things were done in is also relevant, especially when we're talking about the narrative.
They used to bloodlet too. Like, one of them used to bloodlet, thinking that if he didn't do it properly, the sun wouldn't come up the next day. God, how's that high stress? And it never failed, but he didn't know. He was always stressed up. And the other one would bloodlet for the flooding of the Nile, which is a yearly thing. But they didn't know. They actually thought the gods are going to allow the water that keeps us all going. So the flooding of the Nile, to us it happens every year. To them it was a really big thing.
Do you think?
Well, it could also be a measure of control, because it would probably be an official public setting that they were doing these kind of things in, or a priest would come out and say the bloodletting has begun, blah blah blah. If we are doing it correctly and the god is accepting the offering and stuff like that, the Nile will overflow and bring life back to the area, something like that. So it was probably also a control tool. You know what I mean?
Cool, good thinking. Yep, I'm with you on that.
Like bees subconsciously want to do what the queen wants, but they never see the queen. Maybe it's like that. And we've got like this hive mind mentality that we're working through now. We're trying to be independent.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. And although you deep down you don't want to be compliant, you think, well, if I'm not and it fucks up, they'll come and get me. So I'll just do it just in case.
Yes, yeah. It might not even be true, but we should build it anyway. It reminds me of these,
there you go.
These new UFO cults. Royalism is one I watched. Anyway, he wanted to build a landing zone and a welcoming center for the Elohim to come back.
We already have that in South America, the ley lines.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People are still saying it now. Let's build another one to see if we can get them to come back.
I wouldn't even want that if that was true.
Well, didn't some big space rock just enter the solar system a few days back? Or we picked one up? We've discovered another big, what do you call it, outer solar system object coming towards us. It's not going to hit us, but it's...
That keeps going around that article for years.
Oh, okay.
I've read it again recently. I think there might be more than one. There's a few things that come past that are not going around the sun. They're dropping through the plane or bursting up through the plane, I guess. And they're too fast. They don't get sucked by the sun or the planets, and they go through the gap.
Yeah. Like there was that one, what was it? The name was Hawaiian for hello or something, aloha ui or whatever. And it was shaped like a big turd, actually. But it did a turn around the sun, I think, and just kept on going out now. So, but do we ever look for those things? Like, I don't think we ever looked for them.
I think there's little studies, and they've found a few, and they keep re-seeing those few and then telling us about it in the science articles.
I suppose so.
Mad though, it could be like a spacecraft.
Well, if you made a spacecraft, you'd probably make it that shape, wouldn't you? To look like a big rock to stop upsetting the locals.
Yeah, you could burst off that same stuff that rocks do behind, make the tail, and then you could disguise yourself as a flying rock.
Someone said it's 2025 HP, has its closest approach today. So that must be what I was talking about.
Closest approach, but it's really far.
Well, I don't know, yeah. I don't know, I only heard about it last night, so I've got no idea.
But I guess some cosmologists just feel cool that something's coming through our system.
I think you're right. It gives them something to do.
They sort of say hello to the rock in their minds.
They've been finding stuff for years now, right? Every couple of years, one is going to skim by the Earth and, oh, be careful. Or, yeah, they've been doing that for decades.
Imagine if you're one of the aliens on these big spaceships and you went past a little planet like the Earth and suddenly all these space probes take off and start chasing you. You'd be thinking, holy fuck, we've upset the locals. The local ag life descendants are fucking scurrying after us. Hit the accelerator.
250,000 miles from Earth. I'm just checking with Kool-Aid, the cosmologist. Nearly 250,000 miles from Earth, but much closer than we are to the sun. So it's zooming through us and God, Jesus.
Yeah, but you can make up what you want to an extent.
Yeah. I think I read that it's the other side of the sun anyway. No, that with some of them, they're the other side of the sun, so we never even get in danger.
Well, you have to have the idea that imminent danger is always present, but then you also have the idea that they would implement something to always stop it. Like, oh, well, we've got a laser idea. We can shoot a bomb to the thing and what, you know, or whatever, you know what I mean? We can hit it with something to just knock it off course. So they've came up with, as well as the danger of everything that can kill us all, just the sheer idea, just bump into it and you're good. So they save you with the same thing that they kill you with, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they say the same as the Bible, that rocks and fire and ice come from the sky.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's always a square book's a square book, brother. Fiction and nonfiction aren't too far from each other, unless you can demonstrate.
Oh, but they also want to tell you about a rock really far away that you can't see that's coming through what they call the system.
Oh, but then rocks that can't hit you because they're in Lagrange or in orbit. They have every opposite. They have everything that shouldn't be, plus what is.
Rock and roll. Do you think rock obsession is like a type of Satanism? Being obsessed with rocks?
Well, I think the mind and mining is based on some different.
It's
They're
like,
using it for past.
oh, let me try and connect it. So stonemasons, yeah? Stonemasons are obsessed with stones on the ground, and then they become obsessed with stones in the sky. It's just a progression.
Yep. They're hoping that magic stone can be different than the magic stone. Computer rocks.
Have you seen that meme with the guy who pushes a rock up a mountain, and then he slides down and keeps doing it every day?
Yeah, that's the story of what's his name. He has to hold the whole weight of the world on his shoulders. Atlas. You can't do it. You can't never let it go. His
So
story's older than hell.
men just love rocks? Why? Why do we love rocks?
Because it's.
You're talking about Sisyphus.
Is it because rock is
Sisyphus
God's Lego?
was the guy that kept rolling rocks up higher and higher.
Sisyphus.
Well, Atlas had to hold up the whole world.
He's also carrying it in a similar way, the whole world, yeah.
Right. So Atlas is like gravity space time.
Is it because rocks are God's Lego bricks, and we're like children, so we got obsessed with the Lego?
They don't know where a rock came from. They can't make dirt. It's the problem. Let alone anything else.
You're right. That's it. We don't know where the rock come from, so we want to keep looking to see if we can find out.
Yep. And you got one group saying it's a spiritual God thing, and another group saying it's a scientific spiritual thing. And
How does a rock exist? Why do rocks exist? The age-old question.
I'd also infer why are rocks a computer, but then rocks can't think. They use a rock to make their computer, don't they? They heat up the rock and they stretch the little pieces.
Guys, I gotta take off. I got a question for you guys. Should I unmute Drink of Kool-Aid or leave him on mute? It's up to you guys. Sorry?
Just unmute him. There's no reason
Unmuting.
Unmute him?
Unmuting.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You guys win. It's done. Good convo. Have a good day, guys.
There, mate.
think that building the temple is like saying God made a mountain, and I want to make a mountain, and I'm going to make it a really neat and straight, flat mountain, but a cube, perfect cube.
Or a shape in general for that matter. God's dirt don't need a shape, really. Man has to impart shape on everything in their own ignorance, their own idea of what it's got to be, and that's the problem. It ain't got to be none of that.
Yeah, we got obsessed with shapes, so we like making blocks of different stuff.
And we pray to it.
You reckon
Oh,
a king said to his mason, "Can you make me a new shape?"
Church started the circle as the most perfect shape. King would be next. Yeah, they tried to make another perfect shape like a square. It's an embodiment of a circle, but the opposite. Then you got a pyramid.
But it's funny, like in Egypt, they've got the 3D pyramid, so like it's like the 3D triangle. And then in Britain, they've got the flat circle, Stonehenge. Then you got the cathedrals. They're like this weird cross. And then in Greece, we've got that outside bit. So we like making an outside roof, overhangs. Masons got obsessed with overhangs and pillars.
The roof's the hardest. The roof's the hardest to make.
All right, so I have a question. We were talking about this asteroid, and I'm seeing somewhere it's got like a 3% chance of hitting the moon in a couple orbits. Let's say that the government's picked up and is actually going to hurt. Would they tell the population?
No. Hell no.
Don't look up.
in real life?
You broke up for me then, Kool-Aid.
If they would try that in real life. Actually, say something. Be like, hey, by the way, we're all going to die next Tuesday.
It could either cause like chaos and looting and stuff, or it would help like people connect with people they haven't seen for ages before they die.
The U.S. government is currently functioning.
You're breaking up. But yeah, the American government is doing good things these days. More countries should follow. Denmark first. Make Denmark great again. Wales first.
Yeah, but I thought Denmark's always been great.
Yeah, it has degraded over time. It's not as utopian as YouTube videos and articles and stuff like that is portraying us as. Like just in the last 5 years, for example, I know this is a global phenomenon, but something like ground beef has risen with like 80% in 5 years. Like, it's insane. And that is, well, of course, there is the global influence that is affecting it, but it's also our own government because of this, the war on, what is it called in green, what is it called? Green transition, stuff like that. So yeah. So we are producing less, which so the demand is rising. So of course the prices is triple rising. Just a lot of stupid things.
Okay, just say we worked for a little enterprise somewhere like a space agency, and we got the information first that an asteroid was going to hit next Friday. But we've been told by the powers that be not to tell anyone. They're going to handle it. What would we do? Like, we've got the information. Do we want to pass it on to the governments, or do we just want to keep it? What do you think?
I would do the rational thing and not tell anyone, because that would just cause mass panic. I bet in this case, ignorance is bliss. If we are all gonna go out, let's just go out.
Yep. Because there's going to be a crowd catastrophe if you tell everyone. Your crime rate's just going to explode, And yeah, so basically, you all just shut up and let's all enjoy our last week, guys. Don't let on to the family. Let's just take our money out of our bank and have some fun.
I could see, spreading the word to some people, because there is still a possibility that we can utilize some of these ancient deep caves, Allegedly, the ancient people have survived various things by actually just going underground in a period of time, Like, it could be a possibility. There might have been a slightly higher chance of surviving such an event if we are at the right place on Earth, like on the opposite side or something like that, But again, I wouldn't make the message worldwide, because, as you said, that would just cause chaos that no one needs or want.
Okay, so you discovered someone's little doomsday lair. You went into it. You heard all the rumbles. You know what happened. And you've got probably a year to live in there. There's enough food and whatever. It's all, stuff that doesn't need electricity. So you can survive. Imagine coming out. Have you been a true winner? Like you're actually now out. The world is ground zero. There's no one else there. Is it worth living or not? What do you think?
It's always worth living.
Okay. In the hope that you'll find other people, or would you just rather go out and, pretty much everything's wrecked. There's no running water. There's no electricity. There's going to be nothing other than nature, overgrown trees and groves. So
I mean, I would, of course, utilize my own personal network, and if we could have a few hundred to thousands of people just in little Denmark, I mean, that could be the re-rise of a Danish civilization. Like, I wouldn't really care about the rest of the world if Denmark could just rise again. Then we can always build it from there and migrate out over the next many thousand years.
Well, you probably don't really have the option to just grab a car and start touring around and looking for people. So you're probably going to find people local anyway.
You would start, I mean, you have to go back, use basic survival skills, learn to, hunt fish, whatever back, and then, that you can actually utilize. But it could also just be as bad as we just die out and that's it. But if I had the opportunity, I would not go out without a fight, and the fight would be try to survive, Even if I had to be alone in the world, I would still do it, because I actually would enjoy that.
Imagine though, what was that Tom Hanks movie where he's on the island and all the FedEx parcels would wash up? Oh, what's in this one? Was it Maroon or Castaway?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a good thought experiment, that one, about what would you do if you knew and you were the only one, or you and a few people? Oh well, let's not tell everyone. Let's just let it happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you went down to the fucking town square and you started to yell up that a meteor is gonna hit us in 30 days, and you have insider knowledge, people would just shrug their shoulders. There might be that one quote unquote crazy guy who would actually listen, but he was already a prepper, So there's that.
Oh my God. Imagine that you submerge from your underground cave. After a few years, you're a bit lonely and you meet up with a dude. And you start talking and say, hey, we can survive together. And then he says, so you agree the Earth's flat too? Oh, fuck no.
At that point, it really doesn't matter,
Yeah, okay, top me. Take me, God. I'm over. I'm gone.
Yeah. What is the one with, I think, Denzel Washington, where he's a blind man? It's this dystopian movie where he goes around and he is carrying the Bible, but he memorized it all, and then this villain is stealing it just because he wants to use the Bible as the control tool it was in past times, like you could use knowledge like that.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't take long before I mean, the next generation, if that would happen, wouldn't even know about these stories except from, what people told. And if you don't remember the entire story, it wouldn't matter, it wouldn't catch on. So if you actually came and started to be able to preach it all and you get people to follow, you can now be the priest of the priest.
Well, there was a movie called The Omega Man, I think 70s, which had Charlton Heston as the dude, and there was some virus spread the world and he discovered the antidote, but he was the only guy who could survive. But the people who also survived but got a bit of the disease became backwards like Amish types, but sort of religious zealots as well. So Charlton Heston had his elaborate little building with guns and technology and generators and that, and all these people would turn up with their non-technology, like fucking ballistas and bows and arrows and things, and it was actually the newsreader who he was watching, who was saying the world's going to be okay, was the leader of the tribe. And the Omega Man was actually cool. I won't spoil it. It's actually worth watching because it is a good old movie. I think it's colour.
Yeah.
He actually went into a car dealership and grabbed a Porsche and started driving it around and actually crashed it and hurt himself, which put his survival chances lower because he's now hurt. So it was a bit harder to find food.